I started hearing knocking from underneath my bed every night at exactly 3:17 a.m. 3 knocks. If I ignored it, it stopped. Last night, I made the mistake of knocking back. A voice whispered, "Finally." You heard me. I jumped out of bed and turned on the lights. Nothing was there. Then my closet door slowly creaked open. Someone inside said, "Wrong bed." I froze. The voice came again, calmer this time. "No. Don't move." My phone buzzed. It was a text from my dad. "Whatever you do, don't look behind you." I hadn't told anyone what was happening. My heart started pounding. Another text came through. "I'm outside. The thing in your room isn't me." Then I heard my bedroom door unlock. A familiar voice called out from the hallway, "Hey, it's Dad. Everything's okay." My phone buzzed one last time. "Don't answer him."
I know how impossible that sounds. I wasn't trying to do anything creepy. I had just lost my phone somewhere in my apartment. So I grabbed my old backup phone, typed in my number, and hit call. It rang once. Then someone answered. I expected to hear my own voicemail. Instead, I heard breathing. Not loud breathing, just someone quietly listening. I said, "Hello." The person whispered, "Don't let him know you can hear me." I immediately hung up. I checked Find My Phone. It said my phone was on my kitchen counter. I walked over. It was exactly where the app said it was. The screen was black. No missed calls. No active call. Nothing. I convinced myself I somehow dialed the wrong number. The next night, curiosity got the better of me. I called again. The same person answered on the first ring. This time they sounded terrified. "You called too early." "What? You usually call tomorrow." I laughed nervously. "What are you talking about?" There was silence. Then they said, "Oh God, this isn't my yesterday." My stomach dropped. I asked who they were. They replied, "I'm you." I hung up. For the next week I ignored it. Then, last Friday at exactly 11:43 p.m., my phone rang. The caller ID was my own number. I answered. Before I could speak, I heard my own voice. It sounded exhausted. It said, "Listen carefully. In exactly 30 seconds, someone's going to knock on your apartment door." I laughed. "No, they aren't. You laughed last time too." Then the call ended. 29 seconds later, 3 slow knocks echoed through my apartment. I froze. Nobody should have been there. I looked through the peephole. A man was standing perfectly still. He wasn't facing my door. He was facing the apartment across the hall. I opened the door just enough to ask if he needed help. He slowly turned his head. He had my face. He smiled. Then he whispered, "Wrong timeline." Every light in the hallway went out. When they came back on less than a second later, he was gone. I called the police. They searched the building. Nothing. The officer suggested stress. I almost believed him. Until this morning. I woke up to a voicemail that arrived at 3:17 a.m. It wasn't from an unknown number. It was from me. The recording was only 7 seconds long. It started with heavy breathing. Then my own voice whispered, "Whatever you do, don't answer yourself tonight." It's 11:38 p.m. as I'm writing this. My phone has already started ringing. The caller ID says, "Me."
I didn't think much of the voicemail. It was from my mom saying, "Don't come home tonight." The problem was, she'd been dead for 3 years. I called the number back. It connected instantly. She whispered, "He's pretending to be me. Don't let him see you." At that exact moment, my front door unlocked from the inside. I never found out who was standing in my hallway because I ran. The next morning, the police told me the house was empty, except for one thing. On the kitchen table was my phone, still playing the voicemail from my dead mother. When I was 9, my mom made one rule: never answer the door if someone knocks after midnight, no matter who it looks like. Last night, someone knocked at exactly 12:03. I checked the doorbell camera. It was my mom. She was smiling, perfectly still, staring straight into the camera. The problem was, my real mom had gone to bed an hour earlier. Then my phone buzzed. A text from her upstairs. "Don't open the door. I heard it too." The knocking stopped. A few seconds later, I heard slow footsteps on the roof. Then another text. "It's not outside anymore."
I woke up around 3 a.m. and heard my husband whispering, "Don't worry. She can't see you. We live alone." I pretended to stay asleep, but when I finally looked over, he was sitting on the edge of the bed, staring into the darkest corner of our room. There was no one there. The next morning I asked who he was talking to. He looked at me, completely confused, and said, "I thought you were the one whispering. We've slept with the lights on ever since. Sometimes I still wake up hearing someone quietly say my name. My daughter has been missing for 3 years. Today her kidnapper accidentally FaceTimes me. The screen lit up with a number I didn't recognize. And before my brain could even process the incoming video call, my thumb hit answer. I expected a telemarketer or a misdial. Instead, the camera was looking down at a dirty concrete floor. "Please," a small, raspy voice whined from somewhere off-screen. It was a voice I would know if a century had passed. "Lily, shut up," a harsh male voice snapped. I saw the shadow of a boot cross the frame. My breath caught in my throat, my thumb hovering frantically over the record button, tears already blurring my vision. I opened my mouth to scream her name, to demand where they were, to tell her daddy was coming. But I froze when the man spoke again. He groaned, rustling the phone as if trying to slide it into his pocket, and muttered to himself, "Damn it, did I dial out? Let me check the contact." The camera shifted. For a split second, it caught the glare of a nearby window. In the reflection of the glass, I didn't see a dark alley, a hidden basement, or a cabin in the woods. I saw the exact layout of my own living room. And as the heavy, familiar footsteps began walking down the hallway toward my locked bedroom door, I realized he wasn't calling from far away. He was calling from inside the house. How does this direction feel? I wish I never watched the footage. I know this sounds insane, but I swear every word is true. About a month ago, I started waking up exhausted. My apartment would be different every morning. Cabinets left open, shoes moved across the room, The bathroom light on. I live alone. My friends joked that I was sleepwalking. So I bought a cheap security camera and pointed it at my living room. The first 3 nights, nothing. Then, on the 4th night, I checked the footage. At 2:17 a.m., my bedroom door opened. I walked into the living room barefoot. I just stood there, facing the camera, not moving, for over 2 hours. At exactly 4:31 a.m., I slowly smiled. Not a normal smile. The kind where your lips stretch too far without your eyes changing. Then I whispered something. The camera doesn't have audio, but I could see my lips moving. I immediately deleted the clip because it freaked me out. The next morning, I told my coworker about it. He laughed and said I was probably dreaming. So I put the camera back up. Night 5. Same thing. 2:17 a.m. Bedroom door opens. I walk into the living room. Stand completely still. This time, after about an hour, I look directly behind the camera, like someone is standing there,